Life feels like a never-ending race these days, doesn't it? Everyone is searching for the secret formula to productivity. You know, that one magic trick that turns coffee breaks into Nobel Prize-winning ideas. But here's the hard truth. Most tips out there are either generic fluff or just don't work for everyone. Why? Because people are built differently, period. It's refreshing to see a no-nonsense approach that cuts through the noise and gets to the heart of real productivity. How often do we fall into the trap of thinking someone else's routine will fix everything? Productivity advice often sounds like it was designed for robots, doesn't it? Wake up at 4 a.m., run 10 miles, and drink a kale smoothie. Sure, great for someone, but not for everyone. Here's the deal. Humans aren't one size fits all. Some thrive in the morning, others hit their stride late at night. For example, one person shared that they write best after midnight, while another found their creative spark at dawn after years of being a night owl. Isn't it time to ditch the cookie-cutter approach and figure out what actually works for each individual? What's your take? Should we embrace our quirks or fight them? Let's face it, procrastination has a sneaky way of creeping into everyone's life. It's not about laziness, but often about the task feeling so enormous it becomes paralyzing. That's where the genius of minimal viable action comes in. Start small, ridiculously small. Open the document. Write one sentence. Just one. Many have found that by taking this tiny step, the daunting task starts to feel manageable, even enjoyable. The momentum builds naturally, and before you know it, you've conquered the mountain. Isn't it amazing how starting small can lead to something big? You've heard it before. What gets measured gets managed. But here's the kicker. Tracking only works when you're measuring the right things. People often track hours worked or word counts, thinking it guarantees progress. One person shared how hitting daily word goals backfired by creating more meaningless filler than quality content. Tracking isn't about just any numbers. It's about the ones that genuinely reflect growth and purpose. Are we too focused on metrics that look good instead of those that make a real difference? Emotions as productivity fuel who says emotions have no place in the world of productivity? In fact, emotions are often the secret sauce to real, lasting progress. The truth is, when people are genuinely invested in their work, when they care deeply, it fuels them to push past exhaustion, overcome setbacks, and perform at their best. It's not always about grinding through tasks robotically. It's about feeling connected to what you do. Take, for example, the person who pushed through 12-hour days because their passion for the project was unmatched. Another individual shared how they found a deep well of motivation in the support of their colleagues and the small victories they celebrated together. It's easy to overlook the power of those little wins, but they can make all the difference. Sure, not every task will be a source of endless joy, but doesn't it make sense to tap into what excites you when you can? Imagine a world where your workday isn't just a to-do list, but a series of moments that inspire and energize you. In the end, true productivity isn't about mindlessly checking off boxes. It's about doing what you love and letting that passion drive you forward. So, what excites you about your work? How do you turn your emotions into the fuel that powers your best days? Regionaler, the myth of more is better. Let's take a moment to smash the more is better myth once and for all. Sure, we've all been told that working harder and longer means better results. But let's be real. There's a tipping point where more hours don't lead to success. They lead straight to burnout. One person shared how they spent late nights grinding away, only to find that their work was filled with mistakes that took twice as long to fix the next day. It's like running on a treadmill, thinking you're getting somewhere, only to realize you've gone nowhere. The truth is, there's a fine line between putting in effort and just wasting energy. Beyond a certain point, working more isn't just inefficient, it's counterproductive. So why do we keep pushing ourselves past the breaking point? It's simple. We've been conditioned to think that rest is for the weak, and that only nonstop hustle will lead to success. But let's be honest. When was the last time working more actually improved your work quality? Doesn't it make more sense to take a step back, recharge, and return with a clearer mind and sharper focus? The trick isn't to work longer, it's to work smarter. So, how do you find the balance between grinding and recharging? Tracking progress can be a game changer, but only if it's done wisely. People often get caught up in measuring things like hours worked or tasks completed, only to realize these numbers don't guarantee meaningful results. One person shared how obsessing over word counts led to pages of filler content, creating more problems than it solved. The lesson? Metrics should inspire growth, not busy work. Smart tracking, like focusing on skills improved or goals achieved, can truly transform productivity. Isn't it time to ask, Are we measuring what matters or just what's easy to count? Passion might sound like a cliche, but it's anything but when it comes to productivity. People who enjoy their work consistently outperform those who rely solely on discipline. One person shared how shifting focus to projects they loved helped them achieve a flow state, effortless and fulfilling productivity. It's not just about finding a mission, it's about tapping into what excites and energizes you. Isn't that the ultimate secret to doing more with less stress? After all, doesn't the best work come from a place of joy and purpose? Burnout isn't a badge of honor. It's a flashing red light that screams, stop. Rest isn't just a luxury. It's the foundation for sustainable productivity. People often underestimate the power of simple changes. Taking short walks, logging off at a reasonable hour, or even setting hard boundaries for no work zones. One person shared how working late nights resulted in sloppy mistakes that doubled their workload the next day. Talk about counterproductive. Rest isn't a sign of weakness. It's a smart strategy to reset and refocus. Imagine what we could achieve if we treated rest as a non-negotiable part of success, not an afterthought. After all, aren't our best ideas and sharpest decisions made when we're refreshed and energized? So, why not prioritize recharging just as much as working hard? Why does so much productivity advice feel like it's designed for robots? Wake up at 5 a.m., work for 4 hours straight, and never hit snooze. Sounds inspiring until it doesn't work for, well, actual humans. People shared how they found success by creating systems tailored to their own rhythms. One person switched their workouts to evenings and felt more energized, while another discovered that shorter, focused work blocks produce better results than all-day marathons. It's not about following someone else's plan. It's about crafting your own rules that reflect your strengths and needs. Doesn't real productivity come from understanding yourself and working with your unique flow? After all, why settle for a cookie-cutter approach when you can design a system that actually works for you? Let's be honest, chasing perfection can often lead to paralysis. How many times have you spent hours tweaking your schedule or system only to find you've done nothing productive? People shared how they over-optimized every little detail, only to realize they were wasting time instead of getting things done. The truth is, progress doesn't always need to be perfect. It just needs to move forward. It's about finding balance, not obsessing over every little thing. Isn't it time to stop overthinking and just start doing? What would happen if we aimed for good enough instead of perfection? It's easy to assume productivity is all about individual effort, but the truth is social connections are often the unsung hero. People shared how working with supportive colleagues or friends helped them push through challenges and stay motivated. One person mentioned how a simple chat with a coworker sparked new ideas and reignited their passion for a project. Collaboration and connection aren't distractions. They're productivity boosters. Isn't it time we embrace the power of social interaction at work? Could connecting with others be the key to unlocking our best work? Procrastination isn't just about laziness. It's often driven by fear. Fear of failure can make even the simplest tasks feel like insurmountable mountains. One person shared how they avoided starting a project because they were terrified of doing it wrong, but breaking it into smaller steps made it much easier. It's a reminder that failure isn't the end, it's part of the process. The real problem comes when we avoid taking action because we're scared of falling short. Isn't it time to stop fearing failure and start embracing the opportunity to learn from it? How much progress could we make if we stopped worrying about being perfect? Reflection is one of those things people often overlook, but it's essential for growth. Many shared how taking a step back to look at their progress helped them identify areas to improve and change their approach. Whether it's reviewing your day, week, or a specific project, reflection allows us to adapt and do better next time. It's about asking the tough questions. What worked? What didn't? Reflecting on both our successes and failures gives us a clear direction forward. Why rush to the next task when we can learn from the last? How could reflection be the key to improving productivity and ensuring we're on the right path? Life changes constantly, and so do we. The same productivity system might work today, but what happens when your circumstances shift? People shared how staying flexible with their routines allowed them to stay productive through life's inevitable ups and downs. One person discovered that they were more productive in the mornings at one point, but a few months later found that they worked best at night. Flexibility isn't about throwing out your goals. It's about adjusting the way you get there. Isn't it freeing to know that productivity doesn't have to be rigid? How could embracing flexibility help you stay more consistent in the long run? Here's the thing about productivity. It's a journey, not a destination. People often think of it as a linear path. Just follow these steps and you'll achieve success. But in reality, progress comes from trial and error, making adjustments along the way and learning from our experiences. One person shared how they found their productivity rhythm by experimenting with different techniques and strategies until they found what worked. The key is to keep evolving. It's okay to change course if something isn't working, as long as you're moving forward. Isn't it better to see productivity as a process instead of a fixed end goal? How could embracing this journey make you feel more empowered to keep trying new approaches?